Hi, and welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today is a Truth Tuesday, so Satoshi Sean will be joining us. There's a lot happening today. Of course, it is an election day. A communist, an Islamic communist, may take over New York. I don't know. I heard that he was on the ballot twice in one area, so all kinds of crazy things, all kinds of allegations being thrown around. I don't know. The media is clearly not telling us the truth, so we need to really listen to the people that you know on the street in that area and believe them. Trust we the people. But I want to know what Sean thinks about all this. So let's dive in and hear from him. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you are in the New York area, what are you seeing? Especially in the New York City area, what are you seeing in that area? Are people getting out and voting? How are they engaging? Do you feel safe? Curious. Let's see, it's an hour later there, so I wonder when the polls will be wrapping up. We might kind of dive in and look at some of that as well. So be right back with Satoshi Sean right after this. Hey, Sean, how are you?
Hey, I'm all right. How about you?
I'm all right.
All right.
Is it tonight that's the full moon, or tomorrow night with the Pleiadian or Pleiades stars? I don't know. There's some other meteor shower, some other big astrological event with another full moon happening. So
I was waiting for the punchline to your joke.
Which one?
It was like a communist and a sex offender. You walk into a bar and they're running for governor. It was just, it sounded like a setup to a joke the way you're saying.
No. It's really happening.
Yeah, it's I think I want to talk about the election, and I'm going to go over the Texas stuff. But
yeah, cool.
I think Cuomo's going to win, which
bizarre,
right? Because of what he did. I mean, he's like the measuring stick that I always bring up about.
I know.
How there's laws for thee, not for me. He was on TV. He said, "I did this." Total, real assault, not like talking to someone or even, touching. I mean, he went upper shirt. He was total assault. He's like, "Yeah, I did it." And they had all of the law enforcement for like the state. They had like all the sheriffs, everyone, and they had like a press conference, and they said, arresting him is not off the table. If it was anyone else, they would have been arrested right away, especially if someone admitted to it. So if he gets back in, it's like when Marion Barry got reelected after the cocaine thing. It's like this is not a big deal anymore. So I think if they frame it as, wow, America really hates communism, then that would be
so much that they will elect a sex offender.
Yeah, it's like when you're faced with a sex offender or a communist, they're going to go with the sex offender.
Right.
And still keep it as a big deal versus if you're just like, man, it was really close. It was like 40%. 40% of New Yorkers like communism, and they don't care about a sex offender. It could be so much worse,
Well, and of course, I mean, I'm nowhere near the New York area, not in that area, not really keeping up with it. Really have not been giving it my energy or paying attention to it. But all you've been hearing about is Mom Donnie. I wasn't even aware that Cuomo was the other runner until just the other day.
Yeah, he lost the Democrat primary.
I'm sorry, he what?
He lost the Democrat primary to him. So he's running as the independent third guy.
So who's the Republican in that run?
Siwa.
Uh-huh.
The beret guy. The what are they called? The Angels guy. Chat. What is it? He like the 70s and 80s. He fought the gangs. They were the whatever Angels. They wore red berets. And they beat the shit out of gang members and criminals on the street.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Guardian Angels. He's a guardian. He's the starter of the Guardian Angels.
They don't want that guy to be the mayor.
No,
They want a sex offender over
one of them. Yeah, the guy started Guardian Angels.
an Islamic socialist, but not
Communist.
somebody
He's straight up communist, man. Yeah.
but not somebody who
Started Guardian Angels when the
but
police
not somebody who literally is called a guardian angel and beats up
criminals,
criminals.
muggers and everything. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, New York is just lost. I'm sorry. You
Nurse
deserve what you voted for or
New York
what
is
you have
insane.
submitted to. That is insane.
Yeah,
That's insane.
but also I think like if he wins, he's not going to be able to do anything. So it's people will just become more. It's all theater. It's like, oh, communism is good. People want communism. Maybe that'll change the real political landscape, but it can't like do anything.
So when you say that, that's kind of like Trump saying, "Oh, hey, Isaac, whatever is going to be the new nominee for NASA." It's more just exposing the theater kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
We
just
just have to be at the end of the movie.
yeah, and he said, he like I looked at a news article, and it was Trump said it's time for Ilhan Omar to go back to Somalia after she said this, and I'm like, who gives a shit? How is that news? Is he doing something to send her back? Is she being censured? Is it no? It's literally like, hey, this guy said something. This guy took a dump. There's no real news.
Right. Well, like, how many times has Marjorie Taylor Greene said she's gonna read the list, or Pam
Yeah.
Bondi keeps saying, I mean, it's been weeks now that Obama was the main
Yeah,
coordinator
they're gonna get
for
arrested, and like
Russiagate.
it's so.
I mean, how many times is Pam Bondi, the highest, attorney general in the United States, the person who would do the investigation or initiate the investigation? How many times is she going to publicly accuse a former president for being the lead of
But
Russia?
at least that's news.
Nothing happened.
At least that's news, right? But for a
It's
news
not
agency,
news if nothing happens.
no, if that's nothing, yeah, but it's news when she says it. So that's news to put it out. She said this about Obama.
But
He is
she
a criminal.
keeps saying it and nothing happens.
But when you say that this person said something, that's not news. That doesn't. It'd be like if she said, "Man, Obama is an asshole." That's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If Obama's a jerk, Michelle Obama does kind of look like a guy. That's like tabloid, maybe, but it's not news. Like if it was Trump is asking the DOJ to look into.
No, she's saying that there's proof. Yeah,
then that's news. But to read that he said something, it's not. It's theater. It's so blatantly theater that it's like offensive. It's like someone who loves boxing starts watching wrestling. They'll be like, "Are you serious? This is not real. That's what?"
So one time, General Flynn came to my community and spoke at a local place, and we went, and there was an opportunity where you could ask questions, and I came this close to getting up to the mic and asking, what does it take for we the people to request the military for us to say our elections are stolen. We don't trust the government. We don't trust the election system. We have had our election, our voice stolen from us. We don't trust the court system with what's happening, and that it keeps getting overturned, keeps the people that are trying to go through the courts, their rights are getting trampled on, and it keeps being thrown out. Like, at what point do we say enough and we go to our own military and say, we the people need your help? And how do you do that? What happens? And of course, I didn't do it. And this was years ago. And now I wish I had.
It's supposed to be you go to your representative and they represent you, and
But they don't.
yeah, that's what it's supposed to work.
You know what happens when you contact your representative? Through their website, one of their aides, their interns, sends you a ill-written, not grammatically correct, and mostly misspelled email back within 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, you just get like a form letter. That's about it.
Yeah. Oh, a form letter at least would have been spelled properly. Like, it's so, talk about like no representation, but we sure got the taxation, you know? I don't know. Something's got to happen. Something's got to give.
And if you look at it really with a conspiratorial eye, maybe that's meant to break people down. You know, when you try to go through the system and you get a misspelled email back, it's very, very defeating.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a big slap in the face because meanwhile, you know, they're definitely not representing.
No, they are definitely not. Well, but I want to go over because if you're voting in your local elections, which it's very important to do that. The whole thing that Beatles was doing with sunlight and how important it's very, very important. And most people have no idea. Like, this is an important election to most people, and it's not just about electing representatives and people. That's important, but there's also the laws and propositions and things that change, these things that really change the way you live, and then could have really, really huge consequences down the road. Which what we're doing in Texas, I'm going to go over the propositions that are up this election. Some of them are insane. They're massive. And if they go through, will change the world.
I don't know the details on how to engage that. I kind of think you're supposed to do it through the sheriff, or maybe you contact the National Guard, but I don't know the details. But I just know our country's.
They changed the National Guard. Remember, the National Guard was not allowed. It was not allowed to be under presidential authority. It was just
right. And
that
then
was like specific.
The Bushes illegally, because I had Trex with 2K on, and he is former military, or I don't know if it's still called current military. I don't know if he's still in duty or whatever, but he was telling me about that whole history about how the National Guard is supposed to be National Guard, and then the Bushes started sending the National Guard overseas.
Yeah, that was. I remember the first time I heard about it, I was like,
yeah.
They can't do that. That's not what
actually, yeah.
Totally. And they're like, no. And then someone explained it. I said, that's criminal.
It is.
But
the Bushes started it. Yeah.
Ironically, he got out of going to war by being in the National Guard. So he was protected. W was protected by that law that he took away. Because he didn't go to NAM, because he went to, he was part of the Air National Guard. I believe, right? Was it Vietnam, or it was somewhere where he was in the Air National Guard, so he didn't have to, for Texas, so he didn't have to go. And then also we have an Air Force. That was also kind of blew my mind. But yeah.
That's like my awakening, cognitive dissonance moment, painful, is a lot around the Bushes, because I was a Texas girl. They were our Kennedys, all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of my awakening and pain was like finding out how truly evil that family is and how much they hate America.
And think about this. You didn't even know through your awakening and all that he tried to take over the country.
No. Yeah.
That, I mean, just blew my. I found that out through Hollywood. That even blew my mind further. I was like, oh, this is, funny. And then in the end of the movie, like, this really happened. Here's pictures of the real people. And they didn't say it was Prescott Bush though. They didn't say it was Bush. They just said this really happened. And then when I looked into it, I found, oh my!
And how it was done all through the CIA. If
Like,
you, I
this
mean,
was Bush. This is insane.
yes, over and over generationally.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then George was the head of the CIA. Um, I remember I didn't like it
Generational
when
corruption.
I was like a little kid. I watched it because I didn't watch politics. I was the little kid, and there was an interview with him, and he was such an ass. He was talking about himself, and he was like, "I was the head of the CIA, really big position. Now I'm the vice president, lots of prestige." I remember the word. I was like, "Man, this guy's a jerk. He's like a real jerk." And I must have been like 6, but I knew this dude was a jerk. But yeah, that's a big wake up call when you find out.
It is. And you have to be open-minded and to listen through the lies of history.
Yeah.
I have a friend right now on Facebook that we used to, really have a lot of like-minded ideas as far as community and when I was doing charity work and whatever. And he just pushes back on me so hard now. And he's like, oh, your sources are all wrong and, blah, blah, blah. But then we both end it with like, I'm thinking about you on your journey for truth. I'm thinking about you on your, it's respectful, and I said, I feel the same. I feel like your sources are not accurate as well. And I hope that you continue to seek truth. I'm continuing to seek truth. All I know is that they lie to us, and so I hope that
And
we
it's
can all,
weird how people can like agree or admit to half of something, and then all of a sudden they just get stupid. Like, do you trust the government? No way. Do you think that they have your best interest at heart? No way. Do you think that they would come after you as far as they can come after you? So yeah. Do you think that they should be the only ones with guns? Oh yeah. People don't need guns.
well, cognitive
What?
dissonance is a real thing. So people needing to, protect themselves or make themselves feel safe or their truth to be real, to make themselves feel safe is a real thing. And that's part of that. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to get past
And
that.
they literally admit, like, you see them go stupid because
I
he's like
get it,
this, and then they look at you and like, I don't know that.
but you have to
How
give
many
people
times have you got
space
that?
for that, though. You have to give
I
people
don't know.
space for that. Let them have, I mean, when you have those conversations, let them knee jerk and say no. And you don't have to be right. You don't have to be in their face. You can let them say no and give them some time to settle and ask some questions that cause them to have some critical thinking around it. Like you're saying, well,
That's the thing
okay,
when you ask them, and when it's like
yeah,
here, and when they see it, it's like I don't know, man.
yeah. I'm just asking you
Like,
to ask the question.
whoa,
Like you say, we want people to ask more questions,
yeah.
and let them unpack it and let them hold that lightly for a little bit, because it doesn't make sense.
No,
Um, and
never.
I truly believe World War II never ended. I think the testing
Well, that's the thing. Well,
never ended.
we can say now, and it's real that because everyone will you say, oh, history is written by the victors. Yep.
Yeah,
We were the victor. Yep. And then all of history that you've learned was written by a Mossad agent who was connected with Jeffrey Epstein. Now what? And it's like, no, here's
yeah,
Maxwell. He owns this company. They make 90% of all the textbooks, and I don't know. Uh, yeah, that's who made it. That's who you
what's
learn
the,
from.
oh gosh, it starts with a T. the oh gosh. Um,
What are they?
oh, it's the is he a like psychologist or whatever? I was just talking about this the other day. Ugh, forget it. Anyway, I can't think of it now, but it's if I think of it, I'll bring it up. But
Well, I've always talked about how you can't trust yourself because your brain is not you. Everyone says your brain is you, and I say it's not. That
it's not your soul. Yeah.
your soul is you. Your brain is Your brain is bad. You can't trust it. So I found about this recent experiment where they took kittens and puppies, and they raised some of them in the dark, and then they raised the bulk of them in two different rooms, and they didn't let them ever out of this area. One of them just had horizontal stripes on the wall, black and white, and the other ones had vertical stripes on the wall. And they raised them for like a couple months in these environments, and then they let them out, and they couldn't see anything that was not. They walked into walls. They didn't see each other. They were because their eyes were fine, but their brains couldn't process, because that's how they had been taught and raised in this environment. Mm-hmm. And I thought, man, that's just another thing of why you can't trust your brain. It's all programmed, and then it takes, I guess, a while, to be able to change that, and you need to break it down, because we talk about programming with cults and stuff like that, mm-hmm. but it's that's how we work. That's how we're wired. Everyone is like that. I mean, when you're born, you're just a moron, and you're trained that this is what this means. This word means this.
I don't think you have to call it a moron, but you don't have to call somebody stupid, but it's uneducated. You're lacking knowledge or unexperienced.
That's exactly what a moron is, or you're ignorant, whatever you want to
say. Ignorant, yeah, you can say ignorant, whatever.
But you would die if someone wasn't there. If you're a kid, yes, exactly. If you're just left, you're dead within hours. Even, it's like it's programmed. We're programmed. We're programmed that this means this. You say this, it equals this.
And most of it is for survival. That's where, so when I was going through counseling, after my divorce, I had a lot of shame around why I would have stayed in an abusive marriage for so long, blah, 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 how I didn't even see some of the abuse myself for so long, whatever. And my counselor said something to me, and I tell other women and people that are struggling with this kind of stuff, it really helps. It helped me a lot, and I hope it helps other people. But he said, we were talking, and I was like, it's just so embarrassing. I'm an intelligent woman, and how did I not see this mm-hmm. earlier? And he was like, well, I mean, how old were you when you started tying your shoes? And I was like, I don't know, 4. When I went to kindergarten, 4.
I was kindergarten.
Whatever. And he's like, how embarrassing, really? I was like, no, I mean, I think that's normal, 4 or 5, I mean, I was away from my mommy, so I needed to learn how to tie my shoes. And he's like, exactly. So when you needed to learn how, when it was time to see that, when you learned how, once you knew how, then you did better. When you know better, then you do better. And, I think a lot of, it's not that people are stupid, but this engineering, this psyop that we've all been living through has been on purpose. The government, whatever we want to call this situation. What are you doing?
I hate this AI camera.
Oh, it's the AI camera. Okay. Sorry, that was distracting me. Has been on purpose to keep us dumbed down and not knowing, even the language, the way that they have used, the bar language to keep us from knowing how to defend ourselves in courts, needing attorneys,
Like
all
Moto
of
King said, we are our environment. I remember after my divorce, I had to take my kids to therapy, and the therapist like, "Will you come in here for a couple times?" And then we're talking, and then she's like, "Okay, I want to talk just to you." And she like ripped into me. I felt she ripped into me, um, because I was raised by like a good mother.
Yeah.
That, and I was raised by like a single mother when I was like not cool to be a single mother. Um, so it was like it was a really important. Plus, I was Italian, Irish. It's like your mother's,
And she was,
in
in the
Charlotte. So
religious community, the whole bit.
my kids is like, mom's a bitch, mom's terrible, and I was like, don't you say that to your mother, but she was terrible, and she did terrible things, and was a terrible person. So the uh, the counselor's like, you can't yell at them and discipline them and tell them that they have to be able to. I said they can feel it, but they can't disrespect. They're like, no, they can't, as long as they're not cursing. So that was like the rules. Like, you don't curse about your mom. So mom said they meet someone. It's like, oh, where's your mom? Oh, she's terrible. She left us, and they still do it.
Well, they do need to be able to tell the truth about someone, because so I went through that with my children as well. And my daughter, she was like, because I was not talking bad about their dad.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, Mom, like, I trust you to tell me the truth. And it's really confusing to me when you're defending him when he has done really bad things.
Yeah.
And I need you to be truthful with me. You don't have to talk bad about
I
him.
had to be forced to do bad.
But
She was like,
yeah,
it made sense when she told me. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that.
yeah, because that's confusing to kids when they're
Yeah.
like, no, I was there.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So let children be honest, and be honest with children. But we don't have to use expletives and, all that.
Yeah, that was the rule.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to go over what is going on in Texas, what we're doing here. There's a lot of very cool things.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I think, crazy things.
With the election today,
The election today,
or okay.
So there's 17 constitutional amendments.
Of course there are.
Which would go into the Texas Constitution, which are, some of them are really huge.
Okay.
So I'll go through them real quick. 6, you won't believe, 6, 10, and 15. One of them is just
screen share anything.
Yeah, I can just read it.
You just read through. Okay.
I mean, if you want to look something up anyway.
No, it's fine.
Put a Texas flag up or something. So Proposition 1 will give $850 million, a one-time grant to Texas technical colleges. Nice. There's 11 technical colleges in Texas, so that'll be for like anything like buildings, stuff like that. Cool. It's a one-time thing, and it comes from another thing is they put where it comes from, the Texas State Revenue Fund. Number 2, no capital gains, right? Which there is no capital gains in Texas, but this will make capital gains tax unconstitutional and can never be attempted. So no lawmaker can ever try to make it okay as our tax. And there's one of the reasons why I wanted to go over some of these is because these are amendments to the Constitution. So it is, in the end, and some of these go against federal law. So this will be some of them. One of them, number 15, it's going to blow your mind. Okay. It will be a Roe versus Wade. It will be a going to the states thing.
Okay.
I think. So number 3, now this one we'll probably disagree on. Requires judges to deny bail for some charges: murder, aggravated assault, indecency with a child.
What?
They can do.
Say that again. Requires
judges to deny bail to someone who's charged with aggravated assault, murder, or indecency with a child.
Okay, but that means they go to prison. and wait for their court date.
Court date, right. So
I'm
that means
okay with
now
that.
they can do that now. Exactly. They can do that now, but they didn't do it because everyone is innocent until proven guilty. It's one of those things where
Um,
you don't like it. You don't like it, but it's like, okay. So
yeah.
they
It
can do that
shouldn't be
now.
required, though, should
That's the
it?
thing. That's the thing. They can do it
Mhm.
now, but it requires a hearing, requires a special bail hearing that a judge can order, and then he could say, "No, I think you did it," or "No, there's too much evidence. No, you can't have bail." But this would require. So, I don't like that because you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Uh, what am I at? 4. Oh, state water fund, $1 billion for state water fund for repairs and infrastructure to keep clean water for that's needed in Texas.
Okay.
Number 6. Okay, I got a star by this one. Oh, this one is conspiracy.
Mm. Yeah.
So here we go. It bans the state from taxing securities, all securities, and all transactions of securities. It also bans the taxation of any market participant. So if I buy a stock on Robinhood or something like that, there's no tax. Now that's the way it is already. Okay,
Hmm.
but here's where I think is could be exploited. All market participants, including financial institutions, dealers, and brokers.
Mm.
Now, me, when I was a financial advisor, that's my income was derived from those fees. So that means I wouldn't have. So I'm making that's my income on the fees that I'm getting from the transactions. I think the wording of this, I could get out of paying income tax because there's no taxes allowed in any form on the transaction, the money from it. So that means you couldn't charge me an income tax for my income from the because that's how I make my money is charging for the fees.
Well, but doesn't that kind of go in line with, excuse me, no capital gains?
No,
Because
that's if you
you
make
make
money.
income
This is the
from these
actual.
trades.
This is you going into the bank and buying a bond. Or
Okay.
this is the transaction of buying the thing. The other one is when you
Oh,
make
when
money
you
on
sell it. Okay.
capital gains, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yeah.
means when you buy silver, they would charge you tax,
Oh,
and
no, they shouldn't do that.
then the person selling the silver would have to pay wouldn't have to pay income tax on the income from from buying from you selling it or no selling the silver. Um, okay, so that's
I
one that I
agree
think
with that, though.
exploited.
They shouldn't pay
So
income tax on that,
there is a big one. I'm going to give another one
especially
that's
because it's constitutional money
oh, I just use silver as an example for something. It's an investment that's easy
and
to.
it's bartering. Um,
So number 7 is a tax break to unmarried widows of veterans who died line of duty.
yes,
Um, fine, that's a good one. Just a
that's
tax
good.
break. So the number 8 is no inherit. It's an inheritance tax ban. Never allowed to have an inheritance tax. We don't have one now, but
Okay,
this is just enshrining these in the Constitution. A lot of these are already there, but it's making it so it's illegal to try and change it.
okay.
So there are no inheritance tax or gift tax. So but then it words it like I had to pay income tax on the money that I made. I had to pay taxes on the things that I bought. Why should my kids or whoever you, if I give you, $10,000, why should you pay taxes when I've already paid taxes twice?
Right. Well, it's like I think it's so, I do estate sales,
Mm-hmm.
thrifting, vintage, all this, and they charge me tax on these items. I'm like, these aren't new items. They've
There is
already
a
had
tax,
tax
yeah.
paid on them. And then when I resale them
Yeah, but
on
that's
eBay,
you using a
they
business.
charge tax again.
If so, imagine this: John dies, he left all that stuff to his son. His son had to pay taxes in inheritance, then sells it to you and has to pay taxes on the money
Oh,
you
I
have.
know. It's
That's nuts.
criminal. It's criminal.
That
Well,
is
here's
theft.
the other thing that they do. They charge seniors tax on their little social security checks.
Really?
Yes.
That's
They
insane.
pay tax every year on their Social Security income.
Speaking of old people, number 9 is a tax
Fucking
break
criminal.
exempt for the homesteading. No, wait, tax break for. Oh, this is a big one. You may want to hear about this one. So remember how we talked about the silver, and so
Mhm.
there's a tax break to exempt $120,000 of inventory for businesses that are holding it, and by any tax entity, whether it's like your city, your state, your county, property, anything that they want to try to charge you for your inventory, you're exempt of $120,000. Right now, it's only $20,000.
Of silver
No,
specifically?
it's for
Any inventory,
any
period.
inventory that you have that you would have to pay tax on. Like in the old days, the tax man would come and see, hey, you got all this stuff, you got to pay taxes on it. That you have 120,000.
Just the whole thing just offends me so much. I'm
I
just
know.
even.
Now, number 10, this is moronic. I put an S for stupid. It exempts homes. I didn't know this was a thing. If you guys are ready for this, this is insane. This would exempt homes that are destroyed by fire from you having to pay property tax on them. So right now, if your house burns down, you have to pay property taxes on it the next year or that year. And then that got me thinking about all the fires in Hawaii,
Yeah.
California, all that.
Yeah.
How easy is it after you've lost your home and everything you own to take your land,
Oh,
but you
yeah.
have nothing
Oh,
less because you can't pay taxes?
yeah. A lot
So,
of them have been saying that that was a big land grab.
so other states can charge you. You still have to pay property tax if you have no house because it's burnt to the ground. And they want to open this up more for any other disaster. If it's flooding or whatever, if your house is gone, you shouldn't have to pay taxes on your house. It's so moronic that that's a real thing.
I can't believe they're saying that out loud. Yeah.
11 and 13 is for elderly or disabled. There's two of them, 11 and 13. They kind of go together.
Okay.
So it's for elderly or disabled people. This is number 11, and 13 is for everyone. So you get a homestead exemption if you only have whatever you live. You get a credit that you don't have to pay tax on so much your house. 11 is for the elderly and disabled. Get a bonus exemption, and then everybody would get 140,000, whereas now it's 100,000. It would bump up to 140. And elderly or disabled, you only get a $10,000 bonus, not paying taxes on your property value. It would go up to 60,000. So total would be like 200,000 for an elderly or disabled person who has the least amount of income and would need the biggest tax break, which makes sense. Now this one I don't like. Number 12, it is the Judicial Conduct Commission. And who appoints people to that commission? So this commission is the ones that investigates any allegations of judicial misconduct. They're the
Okay.
ones that go after judges or anyone connected with the judicial system.
Okay.
So right now, I like the way it's actually pretty cool. The governor appoints 5 people to this board. The state bar sends 2 people, can appoint 2 people, and the Supreme Court can they appoint 6 people.
Hmm.
So this
So
is going.
none voted by the community or
Yeah,
represented by the
yeah, but
community.
that's there's going to be some things like that. But that's why I like that this is all broken up and one person doesn't have all the power.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
it's not politically run. So this is going to give the governor, take it away from the one entity that's not government by the state bar. They'll lose their 2 and it'll go to the governor. The governor can appoint 7 instead of 5, and the Supreme Court still appoints 6. So I think that I don't like how that takes that away from the. It's more centralized than decentralized. I'm going to go with
Well, but the bar should not be regulating themselves. Like, it should not have been in the bar.
Well, but they're the ones who know the most about the law. They're the ones who approve and can disapprove and take away someone's license. I think, and they only get 2. So I think, and it are also not political. It's not a government agency, and to give it all to the governor, which especially what we've seen with governors in the past year or 2,
It's a big
they're
tub.
they're
Not in.
terrible. Also, would raise the age from 30 to 35, which that's fine. Okay, 14 would create the Dementia Prevention Research Founder Agency, funded with $3 billion to research dementia, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's, paid for by the state general fund. I think that's interesting that it's breaking away from federal, breaking away from the CDC, creating this in a state level. I think is kind of interesting.
They need to go talk to Dr. Reg McDaniel,
And they
who
could.
has so much research, and basically dementia, Alzheimer is diabetes in your brain.
And they could do that because they're not under federal restrictions or guidelines where the CDC says the guy's a quack. Nobody talk to him. And then that's it. Nobody can talk to him. Whereas on a state level, we do whatever we want. I think that's kind of cool. Here's the big 15. 15 this is the one. The constitutional amendment that parents are the final decision makers for children. So this would codify that parents' rights are above all else in the Constitution. Now, by all else, that means by any judge that goes against a parent and by case law. So you could say, my kid is not going to do this for religious reasons. And then a judge could take you to court, or an agency could take you to court, and they could say in Johnson versus Johnson, the judge ruled this, and so this is case law, and the judge would have to say no, the parent is above that case law. In other states, that will go, you have case law, so that will go to the Supreme Court, I'm sure.
That's
because
a slippery slope. I mean, of course, I believe in parents' rights and for children and all that, but that I could see it's just so dangerous with children when there's not full transparency all the time, and their safety put first,
the laws are still there. There's still illegal things are illegal.
Okay.
This is like,
so you're saying they can't say, oh, well, it's our religion to starve our child and stick them in the closet.
No, that's against the law. Yeah, that's harm. Okay. But maybe like a medical procedure. See, that's like, that would have to go that would have to be ruled.
Well, they do that.
But like the your 12-year-old wanting to get their wiener cut off, they can't do that. No matter what state agency, no matter what federal agency says they could, they can't. The parent says, no, you can't do that. You can't make those decisions until you're 18. Period.
Well, there should be no child mutilation, period.
But there is in lots of states. So this enshrines that it's above anything else because it's in the Constitution. And then 16 is all voters have to be a U.S. citizen. And 17 is just for border counties. They're exempt from extra.
All voters have to be citizens.
U.S. citizens, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that one is. I saw one of those memes where they have the gray-headed guy, and I was like, is that one of those tricks where they're like, oh, fight for your digital ID, fight for to be a citizen, because I went through a lot of that common law training and all that stuff. Are they wanting us to fight to be a citizen for our own enslavement? You know what I'm saying?
No.
To say, oh, well, you want your vote to count, right? Well, you need to fight for citizens to be the ones to vote. And then we come to find out, like, well, they're going to keep using Dominion machines. And
so you think that illegal aliens should vote if they just have a...
No, I don't think the two statements are mutually exclusive.
This is just U.S. citizens.
I think you could say illegal aliens are not allowed to vote. or votes of illegal aliens are not legitimate.
That's what U.S. citizen is.
What? I don't think you have to say you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote. I think you could say, originally it was you need to be a landowner.
Yes, but you have to be a U.S. citizen. You can be here.
What is a
You
U.S. citizen? What is the definition?
A U.S. citizen is a citizen of the country. They're not on a visa. They're not here illegally. They're not a
So you're saying
resident.
all the
They're
things
not a
they're not, but you're
resident.
not saying what they are.
Yeah, well, they're not a resident. They're a
So why don't
citizen
they
of
make
the
the
country.
law all those things that are not cannot vote and make that the law? I'm just saying you have to be really careful with the word salad on laws.
You have to be able to get a passport. Everyone else can't get a passport. But
Okay,
to be a U.S. citizen, which I think,
that's going to be the standard
and then
is
17 is border
a
counties are
passport
exempt from
holder.
extra taxes for border security, infrastructure and stuff. Like if they want to put the wall goes through your property, or if they want to put like cameras up in your property or something like that, they still get a one-time payout for that, but then that was it. Now they'll get like a yearly credit if they have border security infrastructure on their property. So that's it. There's some, I think, big ones with the parental thing. The securities thing is interesting to me. There's a lot of really big things, but that's like I'd say probably 80% or 90% of people don't even know what those are, and those are the big things on the ballot. It's not just who your commissioner is, or who the school board guy is, or whatever that you think is that's all that you're voting for. Those are big deals that are changing the Constitution.
That's where I love the DAO structure for government systems, for community or whatever. Like I love how we use the DAO for WBRT. There's an opportunity where people can make suggestions. And then there's a time period where there's conversation around those suggestions and topics. And then it's like, okay, and then a vote. Does that pass? Is there enough weight there that the community says, yes, we're going to adopt this or not? It's such a strong model for people to have an opportunity to weigh in, to have conversation, to become educated about an issue, and not have, who came up with these? Who came up with these 17, Sean? And why are these
to be a Debbie Downer, we already have that. That's my point.
Yeah.
Everyone in Texas could know everything about them. Everyone could be involved. We have the freaking internet. Back in maybe before when, you had to leave your house in the country and go 30 miles to get to a library. Mm-hmm. Okay. But now we're a hop, skip, and a jump from a DAO. We're already technically there. In fact, I think a DAO would not really improve much.
Really?
I think it would would streamline. It would get rid of like a lot of volunteers and things but we have all this infrastructure. You can get all this information. You can be involved. You can do all that, and then you can vote.
Yeah, but there's no proof of your weight.
Yeah, it's just improving on a system that's already there. It's not creating something new.
No equity.
It's just improving on something that we've already got now, pretty much. It's making it better, making it more transparent, but it's not the invention of blockchain. It's just an improvement on something. It's a layer 2, if you want to call it that. Right. So the problem is people aren't involved. Like Beatles say, it's just they have to get involved. They have to care.
But they've been disempowered, like you said, because when you do get involved or you care, you reach out to your representative, and then, like you said, what a slap in the face that you get some email back. Maybe that's on purpose to get you to stop trying. Maybe all of us, voting and then Biden gets in was to get us to try to not vote anymore. Maybe it's to get us to feel disempowered in our own nation. Maybe it's to get us to stop caring about our country. And but I think that backfired. I think that people said no. And that's why the school board people started showing up, and
Well, that's the thing. You can
kids start caring
you can
about their
break a
kids.
person down, and you can bully someone, and you can make them weak, and you can turn them into a pile of tears and boogers. But you run the risk of pissing them off,
Right.
where they just say screw it
I have
and
nothing
fight.
to
Yeah,
lose.
they're
Yeah.
like, getting my ass kicked is what's the difference?
Right.
So I think that's where they went too far, and they pissed like certain groups. They pissed mothers off. They
Mhm.
pissed, and they came out in droves, and that changed things. Um,
Definitely. Right.
so that's the risk. If they push people too far, or they push the wrong people. I always bring up Obama and the Jade Helm thing. They pushed every state in the country, and they pushed here in Texas, and they got pushed back. And they whoa, no, don't look over
They
here.
did pick the wrong state for
Yeah,
that, for
don't
rolling
don't
that.
don't look over here. We're going to stop now. They were like, the Texas Rangers are following our troops. What's going on? Oh, okay. Well, we were stopping this. And it was so funny. It just was so funny.
That had to be just the dumbest move.
Yeah. But the scary thing is that every other state, all the law enforcement went along with it. Like, oh, it's the train cars with the shackles everywhere. No, it's not a deal. We won't report that to the governor. Whereas here, but the internet played such a big part in it, because people were putting out these conspiracy theories
Mm.
about, and then Texas Rangers said, well, sir, there's these crazy. He's like, yeah, these crazy ass conspiracy theories. It's like, well, we just saw a bunch of train cars with shackles all in them, and they wouldn't build this for, if they're not going to use it. It's not an exercise, And they're like, okay.
My mom had a sticker on her mailbox during that time.
I remember.
Like, they had screened people.
Well, way back when everything first started, it was like Jesse Ventura or Alex Jones or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's the conspiracy. There's 20 million coffins here on these properties that are owned by the CDC or whoever, or FEMA, and they're going to use them for this, blah blah blah. And then everyone's like, "Oh, that conspiracy is crazy or crazy or crazy," but no one was like, "Why are there 20 million coffins?" What? When we had the ammo shortage, Social Security bought like millions of rounds of ammo, and they have like one or two cops per Social Security office, and there's like maybe 100. So no one was like, I was like, why do the Social Security cops need millions and hundreds of millions of rounds of ammunition? That seems sketchy.
Yeah.
No one asks the right questions anymore.
There's a lot of questions to be asked.
The SNAP thing. No one's like, why are there that many people on SNAP getting that much money? Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, it's terrible.
Why are people that never paid in receiving SNAP benefits? And why are they receiving more benefits than our veterans and than our seniors?
You posted something on that, which I didn't understand. It was by like illegal aliens, regular immigrants, and then foreign people. But the numbers didn't add up to 100. They were like 170 or something.
Well, I'm sure the funds just keep coming. It's not about like they just.
It was like 50% are illegal aliens and 59% are legal aliens. Yeah, and then 35% were born here. And I'm like, that's 140%. What? I didn't get it. I didn't get how that didn't add up. I was like, is it supposed to mean some other way, or I didn't get it?
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, it's all a mess. If there's one person that's receiving benefits that is not entitled or did not pay in, and there's a homeless veteran or a senior that paid in for all these years and they can't make their house payment, it's wrong. It's broken. And that's the point. It's broken.
I've always said it should be, and people are starting to finally like say what I've always said. It should be like WIC. It should be for food and just for, you know, sustenance. I've lost my job. I've been in when I first moved out. I had like no food, and the best I've ever eaten was when we had food stamps. You remember Schwann's?
Yes.
I used to spend like hundreds of dollars on that. I couldn't afford that when I worked at, a pizza place. I worked at a pizza place, and I worked at a movie theater. I had like 5 jobs, and I could barely afford it. I spent like $10 a week on food for 2 people. So, and then all of a sudden we had like hundreds of dollars. It was nuts. So it is something that's just and people get angry, and you want to be like, oh, people shouldn't be made to feel that they're less than because it's like, no, you're getting free. You know what I mean?
And it's supposed to be a temporary thing, and and I think that's great for families that are in need for a temporary thing to figure it out. I get that. I get, we've all been there in a situation where we needed a little help. I think that's wonderful to have those kind of needs. I think there are a lot of states that are using their rainy day funds or their COVID funds that they didn't use, that they're applying.
And also tax breaks because every office that I had, we always had like a food bank. One of them, we had the biggest food bank in the city. No, the city had the biggest. We had the second biggest one. But it was huge. And, we'd have soldiers like at least 2 or 3 a week that would come in, and we bring them in, and it was like it's like a bodega almost. We had it was like 2 offices.
That's the other thing. Go to a food bank, get legitimate food for your family if you're in need. I get that. But like having these cards that now we know, when I was in inner city ministry, which my battery's about to die, you create an economy anytime you have a debit card. And that is used for things that you would never think it was used for. But everything from, yes, food, but to sex, drugs.
Yeah, people sell it. It's
whatever. They sell it for pennies on the dollar. Yeah. And so that's where a food pantry is a safer and
also it's not illegal.
It also creates an opportunity for relationship. And if you want to get somebody out of poverty, you do that with relationship, not with money and not with.
It's also not illegal to sell. It's what to buy. Because so there was a store here in my town there for years. It was a fish market, but it never had fish, and it was there for years, and then it got shut down because they were buying food stamps. Mm-hmm. But if someone came to me, it's like, hey, Sean, you make me a list, I'll go shopping and get $100 of food for $50. I'd be like, well, okay. That's not illegal. It should. If you want to make it so it doesn't happen, you make it like prostitution. It's illegal for you to do it. It's illegal for you to buy it, So anyway, we should wrap it up. It was good hanging out with everybody. Remember to vote if you have time and get involved in your local politics.
Sorry, my battery's about to die. I was trying to get things plugged in, but I can't get it.
Okay.
All right. Take care, guys. Great to see everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Please remember to go like and subscribe to Sean's channel, Satoshi Sean, and to my channel, LTClisa at The New Normal. And thanks again for joining us. You guys take care. Bye.